think about your longest relationship. We have been with you longer. People are impressed with news reports about couples who have been married 50, 60, 70 or more years. It's rare to find them together and still happy with each other. Long relationships require a solid connection. It's the connection that allows the relationship to thrive. For as long as these relationships have gone on that people think are incredible, we have news for you. We have been with you longer. Even though we are tied together for eternity, you still have the free will to affect our relationship. You are enamored with couples who have stayed together for long periods of time, but compared to our relationship, that was just a blink of the eye. Relationships are based on knowing yourself first. Only then will you know for sure who your real friends and family are. So that's what we're working on today. Ray, who do we have on the stream there?
Hannah Marie. Hi, Hannah Marie.
Hi, Hannah.
You haven't been with us for a while?
Yeah.
Glad to see you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so we're talking about, okay, let me grab this insight, Ray. Okay,
We
so,
have a comment on that insight.
oh, that's right, from Veronica?
Right.
Okay.
Veronica come up to comment. She said, after she read the insight this morning, this is another helpful insight. It inspires me even more on my harnessing the opportunity of being alone. Thank you.
Yeah, and instead of the time alone being something that you dread, when you realize this bigger picture, okay, when you realize that you're not alone, being alone is something you look forward to.
It's like a superpower. Being alone. If you can harness it, like like she's talking about, because you answered her, when you're alone with your journal by your side, you can remember to write down the subtle communication you're always receiving from your guides. Once you harness this, you will no longer miss it or think it came from you.
Right. So it's just about, give me that again, Ray. Would you mind?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so the whole thing is the communication that comes through from your guides is subtle. You're going to know the difference between being in this world where everything shouts at you to get your attention, to get you to do something they want you to do, all right? As opposed to the world you came from, this connection you have to your guides, to your real self, where you came from, okay? Which is where you are most of the time. You're here on the planet in a lifetime for a brief moment compared to all the time you spend on the other side, okay? In the other world. What do we have there, Ray?
Oh, we have some new people who joined us.
Great, you guys.
Rachel. Hi, Rachel.
So
And Bridget.
Great, Bridget. Feel free to ask your questions. After all, that's why I'm here on Tuesday nights. You get the insights, and I'm at your service to answer your questions and have your guides speak to you so you're absolutely clear about the answer that you're getting, okay?
What's your relationship questions?
This is about, think about your longest relationship. We have been with you longer. That's your spirit guides and angels. So what question do you have around that notion, let's say, about that thought about how you have felt that, or how you have just hoped it was there?
People think a long-term relationship is like, well, we've been in long-term relationships. Okay. My last relationship, I was married for almost 20 years.
Right.
I thought that was a long period of time. But now you and I have been married, we've been together 15 years.
Yeah.
And that kind of went by just like that.
Yeah, okay, that's a great point. Okay. Your relationship with your spirit guides and angels is so smooth and so natural and so you get along so well. You're so connected. You're so compatible. They understand you. They know what you're thinking before you say it. That's why when they communicate with you, they're communicating with you all the time. Except this world is so loud and it demands so much from you and puts all this pressure on you that it's like you can't even remember that connection. It's like, oh God, I have to do this stuff right now, or all these consequences are going to show up in my life. So you try to cool this part down just to manage this part. And what's left of you after you do that, that's why they tell you to breathe. You have to breathe out this stuff that took you over, that dominates you, so you can hear the guidance. You can tune back into the guidance. It's like a radio that's playing in the background music, but it's real soft. But you're on the phone, trying to deal with that credit card and trying to handle this other thing and got to get to work, and you forgot, you don't even hear the music anymore. That's the subtleness of your guidance coming through. But the music's always playing, the guidance is always coming through. So how do you deal with this? What you do is you believe it or not, you're overextended in this world, okay? Because if it's dominating you that much and it doesn't leave you with any peace so you can have this connection and hear that guidance and be, in the moment, so you're available to the guidance, then you're overextended here. You need to get a hold of this. You need to do whatever it takes. Cut down your spending so you don't need that 40-hour-a-week job, okay? Go back to 30 so you get a little bit more peace of mind. And you can get back to who this is. Because until you are back to who this is and you reconnect with that relationship, that team of guides and angels you brought with you into this life to look over you, to protect you, and to guide you, this is just going to keep getting more chaotic. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this, and I know the sacrifice it can be. I really, really know. But this is not what you did not come here to live this frantic life, to let it push you around and break this connection and then make this life hard when it's not supposed to be hard. All right, go ahead, Ray.
The length of time of any relationship it feels different depending upon the circumstances. Like, was it pleasurable or not pleasurable?
Here, can I interrupt you for a minute?
And some people put up with these non-pleasurable relationships a lot longer. For instance, people will put up with a job they hate. They'll be there for 20 years, 25 years, but their personal relationships are all short. I think a lot of could it be some of the stress and strain of the job relationship kind of filters into the personal relationship and ruins it?
Yeah, absolutely. Here was going to be my point earlier when Ray brought up the part about he was married in a long-term relationship before we were married, and we're in a long-term relationship. And it felt like eons that relationship he got out of wasn't a good relationship for him. When you're going to find that when you're in relationships that are laborious, they're not compatible, they drain you. I mean, your work, just like Ray said, your relationship with your job, your relationship with your significant other, your kids, whatever it happens to be. If it feels long and drawn out, then that's draining you. Your relationships, you don't remember your relationships with your spirit guides and angels. You want to know why?
Why?
It's because they were so easy. They were so natural. They were so compatible that you were connected. Okay, you didn't miss. You were connected. They listened to everything that you said and thought. They cared and loved you unconditionally. There's no relationship like this relationship with your guides. No, there's no possibility, all right? So, and the reason for that is people in this world they've got to find a way to get by. They've got to make a living. And if you're in their way, you could possibly be, there could be some conflict there at the very least if you're standing in the way of them getting what they want. That this is the physical world, you guys. Your guides are not in the physical world. They're in a place where it's completely different than this. So when you feel that you're in a relationship that has been going on for eons, okay, you're in the wrong relationship. You don't feel that with your guides. You don't remember it, but that's how easy it was. And I would just want to say this other thing. When you first came into this world as a new person, a baby, a new person, your connection to your guides was 100%. You came here connected. Just because you came here didn't mean that you didn't bring your team with you, all right? That's a plan you guys made before you got here. So you have this relationship, the first relationship that you remembered and recognized and felt and grew with in this life was the connection to your guides. That was your first relationship. Whether you remember it or not, it was bliss, okay? It was bliss on the other side in the before life, and it was bliss when you got here. What has hurt you, really hurt you, is feeling like you had to push that away because the people in this world might find out about it. They might ask you who you're talking to, and then you'd have to explain something. You can't, okay? And then you started to feel the separation, and that's when the insecurities began, and that's where you started letting everything in this world dominate you. You took it all personally. You were. My point I'm trying to make is the minute your relationship with your spirit guides becomes severed, it becomes disconnected, that's when you will experience your biggest vulnerability in being in this world. You will feel so vulnerable. You will remember this from the early years of your life. That's where this began. And you will look for this relationship you brought with you, this great relationship you had with your guides, for the rest of your life, thinking, well, that was easy. That's natural. That, I should be able to have that. That I know it exists. I yearn for it. I know it exists. And then you keep, you have friends who turn, who backstab you. You have people that, that talk behind your back, little kids and stuff, and they pick on you and they bully you. And you're thinking, well, what's wrong with this world? What's going on here? It's because you have a basis of comparison. You do remember. You may not remember like this, but you remember because you feel the void. How could you feel the void if you didn't have a base of comparison? Think about that.
Okay, I got some good comments here.
Good.
Going back to the baby, the reason it's so easy for the baby is because the whole thing's driven by curiosity and experimentation. That's how they learn. They come in like that, curious. Okay?
Right.
They don't have a lot of fears. And they don't have to work at it. They don't have to work at the relationship with their guides like people have to work at their relationships, whether it's personal or work-related. Now, the other problem, the wrinkle used to be the women didn't work back in the 50s and 60s. They didn't, and now you got both the husband and the wife working, and they're putting up with the stress of their jobs, and then they bring all that stress back into the personal relationship. It's not just one person working.
Right.
And what do people say when their relationship is not going very well? Well, we're working on it. Or people ask somebody, well, hey, how's it going with so-and-so?
That's compromising.
Right.
And
we're working on it.
I'm not saying that working on it is not a good thing. But when you start to say stuff like that, the reality is when you compare it to what a real relationship is, I got to tell you that a real relationship is a relationship with your guides. That's a real relationship. And you will fail to be a good partner many times. You will just push them away and, not right now. And, I don't want to be bothered, and you just go about your own business and do your own thing and pay the consequences for that. I could tell you that too. and not appreciate. I can't tell you how many times I've experienced this personally in my own life, where I realized, oh my God, there's just no way I could expect anybody in this world to live up to that. I couldn't expect it.
What are some of the things that make the relationship with your guides so different from personal relationships? They don't, I can think of one.
Okay.
They don't have an agenda.
Well, that's right, Ray. That's right. No biases, no agenda.
You don't have to compromise to be with them.
No, that's right.
They love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
They don't lie to you.
Right, right.
They don't run around on you behind your back.
I know.
What else?
Everything. It's everything. You know, why do we expect all that from a person in this life? It's because we remember that relationship. Okay? We may not consciously remember it, but we remember it here. We remember it. We feel that gap, the hole, the void. We know what that is. How the heck do we know that? That's why we know. That's why that, to me, that's all the proof I need.
Okay.
Do we have any?
No questions.
Okay.
We have some more people. Joyce with us.
Well, we're happy to have you all with us tonight. This is Linda's weekly guided insight. And if you haven't signed up, you'll see the link in the description that Ray put up right above or beside the video. And tonight's topic is, think about your longest relationship. We have been with you longer. We are your spirit guides and angels.
Okay. I had a lot of potential long-term relationships when I was a teenager in my 20s. I went out with different girls. We got along.
He was the best boyfriend you ever wanted to have.
Even though I drove a hearse.
Well, that
upset some of the parents.
Okay, go ahead.
I could have married a lot of those girls, but outside forces interfered. That's something else you have to worry about. You can have a good relationship, but outside forces could ruin it.
So, for example.
Oh, no. You can't marry him. He's a musician.
Okay, family.
Oh.
Okay, so that's family looking out for their little girl. A musician. Get out of here.
A musician who drove a hearse.
He was a very successful musician in his teens. Okay, Ray really was in Detroit, where the music was going on at the time. Anyway, he was very successful, but nevertheless, he was one of those guys, to the parents. So they're looking out for their little girl, right?
It wasn't marriage material, apparently.
Well, what was your point to asking that, Ray?
Well, just the outside. What are some of the other things outside interference, outside forces that interfere with a good long-term relationship? So
these are the conditions that people have here on the planet in this world. Okay, it's filled with conditions. It's filled with that type of thing, and it doesn't mean it's bad that the family was bad and looking out for their little girl. All right, but here's what the deal is: the little girl went ahead and followed her parents, and she didn't know how to pick for herself. She didn't remember herself. When you have this relationship with your spirit guides and angels, you can only have that relationship once you know who you are. Until you know who this is, that relationship can't exist. And the reason for that is you don't know how to be present. When you know who you are, you know how to be present. You just know. It's not a lot of work. There's nothing to it. In an instant, you're present. You know how to do that. Boom. There's that connection. There's that connection to your spirit guides, and there's the answer that you're looking for. And it feels like it came from you. It feels like self-talk sometimes. It comes out in the middle of a sentence, in the middle of writing in your journal. This is the companion journal to Guided, my award-winning, best-selling book, Guided. And this is a journal where you track your steps. You go back and retrieve yourself, okay? And in part 3, you write about the guidance that's coming through. Because until you do that, till you work, get your workbook out and do the work and follow what's going on with you. This is between you and yourself, your friend, all right? And you do this work and you keep this together. This is your treasure chest of truth, of where guidance is directing you to go, okay? Now you can read it and go, oh, I see where it's directing me to go. I'm not going to do it. That's your choice. This is your free will. I can tell you right now that the times that I didn't do it, that I talk about in my true life story, the times that I didn't follow my guidance, it just made my life harder. That's all. Eventually I got back to that guidance and I said, okay, I surrender. I know, I keep picking the wrong guy. I keep, whatever I kept doing, but I wasn't.
You had rules.
Well, I wasn't listening to that. I had things of trauma. That's what I had. I had trauma around relationships, and the trauma was what was guiding me for a very long time in my early life. And I didn't know it. I thought I was just really smart.
Yeah. Okay, we have a good question here. Good observation. Joy.
Great, Joy.
Joy says, I think my relationship with my guides is so much better because I'm authentic with them. My human relationships, however, have not been honest. I never revealed my discontent about anything while she was in those relationships that were trouble.
I can answer that question, Joy.
Yes.
It's because you had to worry about their reaction to the truth. See, your guides, your relationship with your guides is absolutely the truth. In fact, they call the relationship that you have with them two things. Do you remember what they are, Ray?
They call them two things: truth and love.
Yeah, truth and love, and they see truth as love and love as truth. They're one and the same. What Jack Nicholson? What's the name of that? I keep bringing it up. That movie he played in where he said to Tom Cruise.
Yeah, you can't. Is that A Few Good Men?
I think it was A Few Good Men. He goes, how do you say that, Ray?
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. That's
true with most people. They can't handle the truth. And that's why you feel like that, Joy. That's a good question, because what you want to do, you guys, is just because this world can't handle the truth, this can handle the truth. My guided journey. That's why you keep this going. That's why you take the journey in part 2 and you do the journal writing in part 3. This can handle the truth. And the more that you tell the truth, just because this world can't handle the truth, if you let yourself fall into that and keep, being quiet, not saying anything, and putting yourself second, and not, being careful about what you say, walk on eggshells. I can go on and on and on and on. My book, Guided, talks all about that. But you know what? As long as you do that, you're living their life. You're not living your life. So you start here. I'm going to tell you that when you start here, you take the journey in part 2. We've got some real interesting things coming up about part 2. Wednesday on Facebook, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Ray and I are on live just like tonight, tomorrow night. We're going to, and every Wednesday night, helping you guys take this journey, helping you guys reclaim yourself, okay? And start getting that together. Start building your muscles, your I'm me muscles, I'm back muscles. I'm here to live the life I intended, and I'm not going to miss it again. Just because you guys are going to be offended, I'm not going to do it. You're going to learn to get muscles. You're going to learn to truly honor yourself, okay, without being nasty. You're just going to be who you are without any excuses, okay, without any disconnect or resistance to it, okay, because somebody else is going to have an opinion about that, or they're going to maybe not like you anymore, okay? That's okay. You're going to learn to be okay with this.
That's a good way to put it. Getting back to some of these outside forces again that derail an otherwise good relationship. I was thinking about security. That was the first one. They're looking after their little girl. He doesn't have a secure future.
Right.
Okay,
That's right.
Had I been a musician that sold 20 million records at that point, then they'd think differently. But I was still the same person.
I know.
Okay.
And what a guy, this one.
Yeah.
He's been underestimated his whole life.
Yeah.
And you guys have been too. You guys have been underestimated too.
Sometimes you underestimate yourself.
That was going to be my exact. You are so good.
It's like I can read your mind.
That's right. So that's what it's like, you guys.
Can't have a private thought here at all, can you?
No,
we're together 24/7. All right. So, the other thing that can get in the way is they're doing something that's not popular. Or they're doing a dangerous job. Oh, you don't want to marry him. He could get killed, and he's a fireman.
Right, I know.
He could get killed on his job.
Right.
He drops buildings.
How many people? This life is, again, keep it in perspective. This is life. Is not all there is. I've told you guys many times. And when you follow, this is what you follow. You follow your truth. You follow this. You follow your truth. When you don't follow your truth, write it in here. Put it in part 3. Today, I got great guidance I didn't follow. You write it in there and date it. Then you look back, I don't know, in a month, and you go, boy, I see why they sent me that guidance. That I didn't follow, and ouch, and things could have been so much better. But for a while, what you're going to do is you're going to write in the journal, you're going to follow your guidance, you're going to track it, just because I won't let you not do it, right? I keep getting on you guys for this. And then you're going to see the result, and you're going to go, okay, now that I see what I missed, well, that's just a tiny piece of what you missed. You've been missing it your whole life. So don't worry about missing it once or twice, just to prove to yourself that, 1, you are receiving guidance, and 2, it's worthy of following. Okay. So don't be gullible. Take that time to write it down and then follow it, and come on Tuesday nights. Come on Wednesday nights. Okay?
And if you can't, there's a replay the next day.
Yeah. A lot of you
both nights.
Yeah, a lot of you do that, and that's fine. Yeah.
I mean, we've got a handful of people here, half a dozen people.
Yeah.
But the replay from, what was it, 2 weeks ago? 600 people watched it.
I know, right? God, I know it.
So while you were saying that, where you get guidance, but you don't follow it.
Yeah.
And then you feel bad when you look back at it. One thing you'll never get from your spirit guides, because they love you unconditionally, is a little note that says, "Told you so."
You'll do it to yourself, though.
Right.
You go, I knew that. I knew that. Well, hindsight is 20/20.
That was good. There's some ha-has up here.
So you guys, what are your questions? Are you just really enjoying our event tonight? Let us know.
Yeah, no questions. Just some comments.
Yeah.
That people staying in. Joy hit a good point there. People staying in a relationship that they know is not right, and they never express their dissatisfaction with it, and that is just more compromise, and that is going to lead to a lot of regrets. It can lead to one person totally dominating and controlling the other, that I could see.
I want to say this about that. The more assured you are in yourself, the more connected you are. You're not just in this world, but you are connected. The more you are one with this whole thing, and you are living your life based on that. You're walking your talk. You're being genuine and authentic. Okay, the more you do that, the more you think about it as just practice every day, every day, being true to yourself, every day, knocking out the stuff that is a distraction, that keeps you separate, that keeps that disconnection going on. Okay, the more that you honor this and the more that you're true to yourself and you're present, you don't have to say anything to these other people. They're going to notice it. And the fact that you're not vibrating in that, just in this energy anymore, just by just living here, you're now connected and you are in one piece. You're not broken anymore. You don't have to say a thing. They're going to notice the difference and they're not going to challenge you. If they don't like it, they will just leave. Okay? That's it. But you can't shortcut your life. You came here to become something and to get something done. And if you let this world just pound on you and just beat the spirit out of you, literally, okay? And you, at the cost of this, having this connection and this connection to yourself and knowing who you are, then you are absolutely, you need to look at that. You need to pull back. You need to observe, and you need to start writing in here what's going on so that you can put it, you can get your life back. That's what this is about.
Getting your life back.
The energy that you used to have that drew those people to you, that challenged you all the time, they'll have no interest in you. They'll either stop doing it or they will go somewhere else. All right?
Okay. I got no questions yet. Oh, Joy had another comment. You're always wonderful, Linda. That's what I tell her every day.
He does. He's the freaking greatest. Joy, I love you. You are so good. You just get this thing, and you're doing so great, man. We just love having you as part of our little group. You know, we love that.
Okay. 2 observations I had. People have a job they don't like. People have a relationship they don't like. They put up with crap in both of them.
Truly.
From their bosses, their co-workers,
that's true,
their
right?
kids, their spouse, okay?
Yeah.
Why are they more willing to put up with so much more in their job than at home? They think it's probably easier to find another partner or a marriage partner, or
that's a scary point.
As a job, than a better job.
Oh,
I mean, it should be the other way around, shouldn't it? I mean,
and the other way around would be what?
Walk away from the job. Stop the abuse in the job, and you'll have a better personal relationship.
Okay. So, what? Oh, do you see how we make these decisions? How we cave into what this world puts on us? Okay. We really have to back off. And do we really need all the stuff that we buy and consume? Do we really need it all? Because that's what's driving this engine. That's what keeps us in it, and keeps us, you know, we want this connection, but I'll tell you something. When you have this connection back, you can't take the abuse anymore. That's what's going to happen. If you can still take the abuse over here that Ray was talking about, in the relationship or in the job or both, God forbid, okay, the kids and everything, right? Your whole life is crashing. If you can take all this abuse, you can't have this connection. There's no way. It's too much negativity. Your guides can't reach you under those conditions, all right? So you've got to pull back on that. That's the kind of stuff that makes you sick, you guys. Physically, your body at some point will rebel against your decisions. And it will get sick just to get your attention to stop this, you know? This is not why you're here, you know? So.
You know, we know somebody, I'm not going to mention any names, in a former life that had a job where he talked to everybody all day long, talk, and it was contentious. It had to do with legal stuff and back and forth, and he made the comment, I never want to have to talk to people again. Ooh. You know, when I go home, I don't.
He kept saying it. I'd say that he said this for probably 5 years before what Ray's about to tell you happened.
Before he developed throat cancer and couldn't talk to anybody.
And they literally had to remove, what did they do?
Part of his larynx.
Yeah, and now he can't even speak. See how we set these things up? And that was all because he was so hurt in this world. He was so sick of it that he created that.
That's a tough one.
So you guys, you know, when I came here, I talk about it in Guided in Chapter 1. I knew in Chapter 1 that this life was not supposed to be like this. It wasn't supposed to be hard. And I knew that because I stayed connected to these guides and to where I came from and the wisdom that exists there when we planned our life before we came here, all right? So I can tell you that that's just a bunch of malarkey. Having suffering, putting up with all this kind of stuff, you don't have to be rebellious and fight these people and everything. All you have to do is be who you are. All you have to do is remember who you are and bring it back.